This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, so last session we were discussing about let me grab that particular one, the VPC part, right? So yesterday we were trying to try to understand how a private servers how a private servers will be exposed to the outside world. Okay, is what the discussion we're trying to make yesterday, and based on that we just came up with this network architecture, and we can do that. Okay, so this is a VPC design, we made it. All right, so you'll be having two private subnets and two public subnets, and even so if your application, our application also is categorized into three pieces, right? So front end, back end, and databases. Even the subnets also you can categorize that way also, to really keep everything in, so all the components into subnets. Even you can just go increase your network capacity, and you go with more subnets. Okay, so saying front end has different, back end has different, database has different. So but I don't want to go in that way. So since we already started this and we already discussed this, so we just want to continue with this now. Coming back to the points, so we are actually trying to address these particular points. Okay, and these particular points we're trying to address with these particular things, right? So we have standalone servers, we just went with multiple nodes with LB, and then some security part we discussed yesterday. But now today we're going to talk about something called as scalability. Okay, so once we understand the scalability part, then we'll jump onto the automation. So now we'll design our application, and based on our design of our application, so we need to automate our application, application or infrastructure, not application. Create your infrastructure using what we call create infrastructure using Terraform is what we are going to do. Okay, so that's the idea basically. All right, and yeah, so how do we do this now? Okay, so how to set it up? All right, so that particular part we're going to see. All right, so first thing first, I am going to talk about the scalability. So in Amazon, they offer something called as auto scaling group. Okay, so they offer something called as auto scaling group. So we're just going to use the auto scaling group and we make it. Okay, I'll go to our account. All right, so here you're going to have an auto scaling group. So now what is the purpose of auto scaling group is, so if there is a new load coming, that means not new load, I would say a lot of load coming up into our application should also be compatible with so serving those particular requests. So we cannot actually say that so our instances let me put my words in this way. So we need to ensure that so based on the load whatever we are going to receive, so we need to achieve the same capacity to be served. Okay, so we cannot actually so fail some of the requests of the customers, right? So we cannot actually choose that. So we should do the we should take a look on the request whichever is coming up, and based on that we need to scale more, we need to scale down. Okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so one thing in this area, so it's gonna help you in two ways. One is you put it as scaling, so that means you manually scale it up, manually scale it down, but still whenever your server is coming up, all the expected configuration is expected to be there. Okay, that is one thing. Okay, so the second thing is so the same phenomenon you should automate that. Okay, so why I should go and scale it manually? So on whatever the scenarios we have to make it scaling up, okay, that particular phenomenon we'll keep it under auto scaling. Okay, so that means we'll write some rules, and based on the rules, actually it will go and do a scale up and scale down automatically. So that's the idea. Okay, so how this works and how do you deal with that? So we're going to talk about that particular part now. All right. So so first of all, this auto scaling group is going to require one launch template. Okay. So we also can go for launch configuration, but launch configuration is a deprecated one. The old launch configurations console is that's okay. And so create a launch configuration. So this is a deprecated one. I would say not a deprecated, but if you go to the auto scaling group, so you just go with the create auto scaling group. So they give you the launch template, or switch to launch configuration. By default, they're giving you launch template because launch template has its own advantages of versioning. You know the versioning, right? We already talked about this launch templates, and so having some changes to this one and choosing the version, right? So that is possible here. So that's the only reason. Okay, so majorly launch templates are preferable here. You update the configurations here, and automatically your scaling groups can pick it up. Okay, so that's the idea. So yeah, so create a launch template. Okay, so here is the one. All right, so we can just choose that one now. But before do that, so whenever my server is starting up, so I should have my have my front end already. I should have my front end already installed. So now what I'm trying to talk about is, see, if I try to scale it up, so that particular point of time, I don't prefer to install certain things. Okay, it takes time. So just to avoid that, to make it faster, so what we can have to do is we have to make our own images. And in that image, everything has to be ready. How do I make my own image? Let me show you. So let me take you to launch instance. So our launch instance from the template. I already have the launch instance from template, and this is the launch instance. And you can go with this. Okay, this is okay. Launch instance from the template. Inside this, what all the things I want to make it configured, I'll make it configured, and I'll convert into a template. I'll convert into a template of image. Okay, image template that is called as AMI, Amazon Machine Image. What is an Amazon machine image? Is nothing but, so let's say you are installing your laptop or desktop, you require a CD or DVD, but CD DVD those are gone. Now how are you installing? So you are putting your pen drive and installing. Okay, probably in the pen drive you're having some ISO. Okay, so right, so that particular ISO file is an image. Okay, so which is having it's all virtual now, right? So ISO is a virtual one. So whereas the physical one is CD, DVD, floppies. Okay, but yeah, so ISO is a virtual one. Okay, so from the virtual one, the installations are happening. And now here also, these are all virtual machines, and Amazon also going to help you in creating your servers with a virtual imaging concept. And so that they are calling it as AMI. So it's a template. You convert your instance into a template, and from that template, okay, you can pull up your you can bring up your new instance, so that you don't need to really install on each and every system. Okay, so that's where even I made my AMI, and you're using my AMI all the time. So that's how it is. I think the instance would be up by this time, so let's go to the instance. Okay, so SSH to this. All right. Or I can go for, so here I would say, shell scripting. No, I'm not using this, right? I'm using GitHub. So github.com p53 shell scripting. So every time I'm installing make, okay, so next time I don't want to really install make in every of my system. So what I can do is I can embed that particular make in my, so in my system, so in the image which I'm providing, okay. So then automatically you can do that, right? So in order to really go and install the make every time, so it comes out of box. So sudo cd robosharp sudo make, and then done. So here it is a front end install. If I go and so choose this server and put it on the browser, so you can see this, it's coming. All right, fine. Now I will just go and try to convert this particular instance into an AMI. So here on the right click, you have image and templates. Create image is there. You have, so you have so the image name is front end. The image name is front end, and so no reboot is really needed. So you can just do that. So create an image. So your image is now getting created in your account, so which is AMI. Now you can start creating, once after it comes to available, the image comes to available, now you can go and create your launch template using this AMI now. Okay, and then you can give that particular launch template to the auto scaling group, and auto scaling group can launch the instances for you with how many number of instances you ask. Okay, so let's wait for the image to come up. Just give me 1 second. What's going on? All right. And even so that make script, I think somewhere I have here only, I think this one. Repos, somewhere I should be having it. Pipelines, releases. Yeah, DevOps AMI. So here what I am actually trying to do, so where is my code? My code is somewhere in the GitHub. Okay, so GitHub LA. Okay, so I'm taking it and make the script. Okay, let me show you that code actually. It goes over the space. What is that? AWS image DevOps session. There is a simple shell script actually which I have, so which will be taking care on this. Okay, so this AMI setup.sh is the script which runs inside my server after creating it in an automated manner. That's it. So here I have a list of packages which I'm installing. So where make I didn't mention, it seems. So if I just go and say that I want to install make also as a part of that one, so and I'll ship a new image and it comes automatically. So here, where is that? Yeah, here I'm installing the list of packages. So somehow actually I'm giving make, it's not getting installed. I need to take a look that why that make is not coming up in that image. Okay, so otherwise yeah, it makes your life miserable, right? Every time I'm installing the make is not a great idea, I would say. Okay, I need to take a look that why it is actually not getting installed. Okay, so whether not sure. Okay, so just to give you some context, and that's how I make my AMI. So yeah, so my image is available now. I can terminate this instance. That instance is no longer needed. I think we launched a spot request. Let's cancel the spot so that the instance will be terminated. This is the one. Okay. So the next thing is going to the launch template. Okay. So I'll go to the launch template. I will create a new launch template, and this launch template is this is for like let's say front end sample I'll give. So this is actually going to be something. Okay, that's fine. And so now here I need to choose an AMI. So if you drop down, you can choose your AMIs here now. So if you go slowly a little bit down, so you'll find out your AMI. So my AMI is a front end. Okay, I choose that. And instance type is basically yes, I want to go with t3.micro. So t3 micro instance I want to choose, and key pair I don't have any key pair. Okay, and so VPC, yes, of course you choose the existing VPC or the new VPC, anything is fine, but this is a security group. Okay, if you want to choose a security group, you can choose the security group. So the security group I'll choose is allow all. That means I'll be putting inside this old VPC only, not new VPC. And so I don't have anything else. Basically, if you want to save cost, Spot is the only answer. So request Spot instance, and I will say that, you know, so customize. The instance behavior is the only one you need to change. The instance behavior, instance interruption behavior is stop rather than terminate. Okay, so that means your instances can be instances can be stopped also. Okay, I don't think so even that is also needed. This is only just for sample. That's okay. And create a launch template. That's it. Now you have your launch template ready. So now what I can do is I can go to my auto scaling group now. So I can create my auto scaling group. So create your auto scaling group. So that let's say I'll say front-end hyphen sample launch template front-end hyphen sample, and here it is. Okay, did I choose in the template right? So I choose in front end. Yeah, these are the options coming up. Choose next, and instance purchase options I have from the launch template, which is fine. So now you have subnets. So subnets you choose 1A and 1A and 1B. So two availability zones I'm choosing. Okay, next. You want to attach some load balancer because you're going to go with multiple instances. You need to go create one load balancer and do that. Okay, so but for time being I don't want to go with any load balancer, so I'll just proceed with the next option. And how many number of instances I'm looking for is desired capacity is 1, minimum and maximum is also 1 I'm giving. And so if you want to have some scaling policies automatically, so we'll just choose this, but we'll enable it later again. So just click on next. Notifications I don't want any, tags I don't want any, so just click on create auto scaling group. Now this configuration is gonna launch one instance. You just need to wait for the instance to be created. One instance will be created. Okay, so as of now it is 0 instances. It seems there is a problem actually. Okay, so the instance was started and the desired is actually failing. Okay, so what is the reason? We're not getting instance was started. actual difference between desired and actual. Okay, here is the error actually. So actually the reason is, so yeah, one time is not supported in this particular one. Yeah, the launch template, some options we have chosen. Let me delete this. This auto scaling is something is a tricky part now here. Okay, let me go here. So what is this? Edit modify, create a new version. So what actually is a problem here is the advanced details. If it is a spot instance, and what was the error it is telling is one time. Okay, it's not one time. So I think you can just, okay, so just give this much is fine. Create a new template version. View launch templates. So change the default version, modify, change default version. Let's go with the, no. Change default version. Change, set default version. So 2 version is the latest default version. Okay, now go to the auto scaling group. So create auto scaling group, and it's actually going to call as frontend hyphen sample. Choose the template frontend sample. Now it should choose version 2. Yeah, version 2 it is choosing, right? All right, click on next. You choose the subnets 1A, and the launch in 1B is fine. And just click on next. You don't want to change anything at all. Just click on next. Activity. Yeah, so now instance is coming up, no errors. So one new instance is going to come up now. Okay, so which is actually going to have automatically the front end installed. Just hit on that. So well, if the instance comes up, okay, then it has Nginx already there. All our front end is also already there. So then it comes as expected. There is a security group problem. Okay, so I think what is the security group came up for this particular instance is allow all only, no problem. Then why it's not working? All ports are open, no issues here. Even SSH is also not working. Let's see. Let's go to the auto scaling group, and I'll say that I want one more instance. So here, edit this, and I'll say I want two instance. We'll launch one more instance, and I'll see at least that instance is coming up. Unless until this initializing status check completes, we cannot actually determine the machine is up or not. Okay. And so sometimes, yeah, it's not working now. So just to start troubleshooting, so this is not working. So now if I want to check the logs, really what is happening inside the server, you can just go here and check the instance settings. No, and networking, no, security, monitor and troubleshoot. So get system log or get system screenshot. So what is actually you're having the screenshot? Screenshot is this one you're having, okay, which is fine. Screenshot looks fine. And actions, if I say monitor and troubleshoot, get the system log. Is the log is actually throwing some errors kind of thing so that it's not able to come up or something like that. You will see here. So now I launch the second instance. So second instance is actually also going to give you the same problem. Then we'll consider that, so there's a problem with the launch template, whatever we launched. Okay. Otherwise, we'll consider that as a problem with. Otherwise, we'll consider this as a problem with the instance. Okay, this instance. So the new instance came up now. Let's see whether I'm able to do here. This is also not responding. Did I make some changes to my VPC or something? No, if I change the VPC changes, the first instance which I created to create an AMI will not work. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's a problem. So this much time, it should not take it. So definitely there is some problem which is involved over here. So from the launch template or something. Now let me quickly go to the auto scaling group and delete this. I will just create one more launch template carefully. First of all, I have my own questions that, so whether the AMI which I created is really working or not. Okay. So first I want to test that. Okay. So I'll go to the AMI, and I'll just say launch. And I'll say T2 micro, configure instance details, add storage, this, okay. Name AMI test or something like that. Security group, so there's allow all option. Just choose that. Launch. No keeper required. See, I created an AMI, whether this is working or not working. So first I want to verify this. So I'm going to verify this now. It's coming up. Okay, so this instance might be up now. If I just try to connect to this, yeah, my assumption is right. First of all, there is something wrong with the AMI which I made it. Okay, so the AMI which I made it is with something, so without some reboot option, which is not preferred one at least. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure. So why it has happened, but somehow I am not able to connect to these AMI instances. Okay, so now I got some understanding. Okay, so this is the problem, right? So let me terminate this instance and let me launch a new instance and do that. Okay, so let me launch an instance and click on community AMIs, DevOps -practice. Just choose that. So this to make the AMI. I know the problem also, it is due to the spot instance which we launched to make the AMI. So now I just launched a normal instance. Now let me show you that. So that reboot option, I don't think so is a problem. The spot instance was a problem. Let's wait for a couple of seconds and then we'll give it a try. Yeah, it's working. So its server is coming up. Connection refused is a good message. Okay. All right. Okay, so I will just take this. Okay, done. So then I'll create an AMI out of this. I'll just say that image. First, let me go to my AMI and deregister this. This is not rated anymore, deregistered. So deregister and go to the instances, go to the, let's create image. I'll say front end sample and just click on create image. So usually it will shut down and make the image. Okay, so let it make. Amazon has given a cloud shell. Basically on the top you'll be finding out a new icon now. Okay, so this is a cloud shell, so that means you get the Linux box out of you get a Linux box here, and yeah, so I think I'm not sure which operating system they're giving now or release. So Amazon Linux they're giving, okay, which is nothing but a CentOS operating system. So your yum install, like let's say make, this all will work now. Okay, make is already installed. So yum install Nginx. Okay, Nginx is not there. So yum install. Yeah, so yeah, but whatever it is, I think those are not there. So we need to just install them. So yum space install. So we are going to get all the packages. All right, so like let's say yum install zip. Zip is already installed. A lot of packages which are really needed, those are already installed. Okay, so if you want in particular, like let's say I want GCC, so GCC is a package is not there, so you can install that. Okay, but whatever it is, you're getting a Linux box here out of box. If you want, actually, you can, yeah, so use it also for Linux. So this is a new feature. Just a couple of days back only they added it. Yeah, I think my AMI should be done now. Yeah, so now let's go to the launch template once again. And let's delete this. And create launch template. So front end -sample. Okay, AMI, you can choose your AMI. If you just drop down, you'll find out your AMIs, or get the AMI ID and get it. So front end sample. And instance type is t3.micro, and the key pair not needed. If you see, so here allow all security group, you have to can choose it. Right now I'm not going with the spot. First let me make sure that the things works, then I'll come to a modification. I'll make a changes basically. Okay, so now it is fine. Go to the auto scaling group, create an auto scaling group, and I'll say that so front end -sample. Okay, so choose front end sample, and next, so you choose 1A 1B, done. So directly no more options. You can go to script to review directly. So this is fine. Create auto scaling group 1111. So let it come now. Yeah. Now you should have got the new instance. Yes, you got the new instance. Let me take this instance and I go to SSH. This one. Now I'm able to connect to the instance. Yeah. So that means if I go and open this one on the browser, you get so this particular one out of box. Now if I go to here, where is this? Okay, now I'll go to the auto scaling group. So I want one more instance now. So now I can say that click on this, and you go have edit this option. So just choose how many instances you want to make it. Those many instances will make it. Okay. Now when you have two instances, what is the problem? Which instance to hit is a problem. So that's where you need to create a load balancer and put that particular load balancer to here. Now here, load balancing options. You see this? Now I'll go and say that edit a load balancer. And we want to go with the application load balancer, and you have to choose a target group, and actually we should be using a new target group. Okay, so first of all I had to go with a target group on the left side. Okay, so create a target group, and this is actually coordinated as friend and hyphen sample, which hits on 80 port. Yes, and just click on next and create a target group. That's it. You just create a target group without any instances inside that, no instances at all. Okay, now I go to the auto scaling group and I will just map this particular target group there. I'll just go here and click on edit, and I'll choose application load balancer front end sample. Okay, update it. Done. Okay, now you come back to the load balancer. Now you create a load balancer with that particular target group. That's it. Target group is a bridge between your auto scaling group and your auto scaling group and load balancer. So now create a load balancer, and it's an application load balancer. It's actually front end hyphen sample, and it's gonna be fine. Actually going to be 1A, 1B. Okay, and configure security group. This one. Allow all, I can choose routing, a new target group or existing target group, and you go with the front end sample. Okay, that's the available one. Register targets. Okay, create it. Now the targets previously you're adding it manually. Now auto scaling group will add the targets to this. Okay, so listeners, you can see this 80 port. You are actually pointing to the front end sample. Front end sample, I never added the instances, but automatically those targets will. But those targets should be coming up automatically here. One instance was there, that one instance is coming up automatically. I didn't add it, it automatically got added. So who added that is auto scaling group. Now you add one more instance, you scale up one more instance, go there and you click on edit. Now I'll just go with the 2 instances. Okay, now you go to the target groups, automatically it adds the second node also. Go to the front end sample, go to the targets, just wait for the instance to come up. That once that instance is come up, you will see the second instance also coming up here automatically. You no need to add it at all. Yeah, you see this second instance came up automatically. Come into the load balancer. Load balancer still might be provisioning. It is active now, but it is active, but the target groups are not active. That the targets inside the target group are not healthy. Yeah, you got one healthy in one. So that means if I just take this and put it on the browser, now you get it. But you have 2 nodes out there. Which node you are getting also you don't know at all. You get it. All right. So this is first thing. The second thing is, okay, first thing is, any questions on this so far? What we're trying to achieve? So we define the configuration and we are saying that these many number of instances I want, and those many instances are coming up. But these many instances you choose based on some criteria we're going to say now. Okay, so that is auto scaling group now. That becomes auto scaling. Until now you created a scaling group and that's a manual. Okay, so but now it has to become an auto scaling. Okay, so that's ideally the technique, that the desired configuration. Okay, so now I go here. Yeah. Now how can you say the auto scaling? So auto scaling group, when you go for auto scaling group, so you have to say here automatic scaling on the top you have. So you have to go with a add policy. You have to add a policy. What is the policy? How you do the policy? Target tracking policy, okay, is one method we have. Step scaling is one method we have, and simple scaling is one method you have. Simple scaling is more button basically. It looks like simple, but actually so dealing is complexity. Okay, so step scaling is basically the name itself is telling so it just goes in a steps kind of thing, okay, rather than I would say, like, rather than the actual needs, it's just gonna, so scale up with certain basic, or let's read this basically. Even I don't remember exactly. So scaling the policies, AWS ASG. Yeah, so here it is, step and simple. Yeah. So basically the step is actually happening is, so normal scaling, how it happens, scaling is like, let's say you have one instance. I mean, like, say you have one instance running. So now the scaling policy tells that, okay, so we are actually need to create one more instance. It will go and create one more instance. Okay, so one is there, it got one more instance. Now there are two instances. Now there is again scaling need is needed. Okay, now there are two instances. Now this if you choose a step scaling, that creates two more instances basically, and it's not go with one instance. Okay, it will go with two more instances, so double the capacity. Okay, so it's always doubles the capacity. So if the so if you just go with you try to see this, basically you'll understand this. Okay, so then you'll see this, so 10 instances are there. So then so adjustment is going to be some 10 instances. Okay, like that it is going to be. So I'm not preferring this. So majorly why? Because is the target tracking policy is the more accurate one, and that's where I would prefer to choose that one. So here and simple tracking is, you're going to say that, so what you want, and so simple tracking is actually going to be something like, so very basic criteria like CPU, okay, or network or something like that, okay, on the instances. But target tracking capacity is a most, is a most like a new generation one kind of thing. So new generation option. So this gives you a more helpful in the whole. It can track, like, let's say target tracking, right, means like I mean, it just creates some new nodes based on the calculating the whole node scheming in picture. That means there are 10 nodes. Based on those 10 nodes behavior, it will scale the one instance. Okay, so that's the basically the idea of target tracking. Okay, target tracking will help you in much better, and this is what you need it, in fact, I'm talking about. So target tracking also will help you in tracking the load balancer load also. Based on the load balancer load also, you can increase the things. So that's where I'll go with this. And so here you see this application load balancer request per target. Okay, so first of all, just to show you, demonstrate the things, so I can show you the average CPU utilization for now. And so the number of seconds you need before including into the metric. So 30 seconds is fine, very minimal. And so okay, so this is fine. So just click on create it. Now what is our scaling policy is telling? The scaling policy is telling that if any load of any of that instance is actually crossing some 50%, then you go and add the instances. Okay, go and scale up the instance. Now what I'll say is, I'll just go to the desired capacity. I will say desired capacity is 1, minimum capacity is also 1, the maximum capacity I'll keep something like 4. Update. So then it's going to remove one instance. Let one instance be come up into stabilization. It will terminate one instance. Let's wait for that. Auto scaling group need to bring down one instance because we adjusted the capacity. So it is waiting for the ELB to, load balancer to drain basically. So that's where the target groups. If you go there, there's a front end sample. It is waiting to detach from here first. It's draining. Okay. So once after it drains, then it will go and delete that particular instance. Taking a longer time. Unless it drains, it will not create one more instance. It will not shut down the instance. Okay, there's too much time. Still waiting. So now the deregistration, I mean, the draining part is done. So now there are only one instance. It terminated another instance, which is fine. So it is expected now. So which is clean. I mean, so the instances are clean now. Okay, which is fine. This AMI is no more needed. I'll terminate this also. So only one instance, which is from the auto scaling group, is what we have. All right. Now the next thing which I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for and I'm going to do for auto scaling, right? So there's auto scaling policies are now imposed. So what is this policy is telling? That is, if your CPU utilization is more than this, so then okay, so you increase one instance is what we're telling. All right. So now how does it work? Okay, so I need to put some load on that particular machine, so then it works. So then I'll go to that instance. Okay, all right. So sudo su hyphen. Okay, so yum install, there's an option yum install stress. Stress is a package which helps you in putting some dummy load on the system. So stress and hyphen help. So you will find out, so stress hyphen CPU, like let's say, so CPU 8 or let's say CPU 2 CPUs you consume. And so yeah, that's fine. And so also alternatively, I'll open one more session also to the same system. And SSH is ops 321 and sudo su hyphen and then yeah, so I'll just go with some top command. So top is another alternative command to your ps command, which will show you, like, so the live process which is happening here. So, and again, I'll give like timeout is some, so some 1200 seconds or something like that, some 20 minutes. So now the stress is happening. Now you'll see your load will increase, and also at the same time, so the CPU utilization here is quite important one. So the 100% CPU utilization is happening. Okay, so yeah, there are two CPUs inside the system because you are using T3 micro. T3 micro comes with two CPUs. So that's the reason I mentioned you consume the two CPUs completely. So CPUs completely. So for 20 seconds is what I'm telling, and it's going to start consuming it. So it's close to 100% now. So now it is 100% utilization. So then Amazon also start detecting those particular changes. So how Amazon will detect the changes, because it does the monitoring of the system from their side also. So certain components which you can check it on the monitoring also. So in the monitoring here, so they do some monitoring. Okay, so that monitoring service in Amazon is called as CloudWatch. Every instance you keep it out there, so it's gonna start doing the monitoring. So now the CPU utilization is actually very zero now. Just wait for that. It gives, I think, in a frequency of a 1 minute, I think. So you just wait for 1 minute, then you will see the difference. So 10 seconds, try to auto refresh. Let's see. So this continuously refreshes. This monitoring of Amazon should observe that there is a spike in the load, and if that is the spike, basically, then our auto scaling group will detect that particular one. So if you just go to the auto scaling group, go to the auto scaling, and so here it's actually going to be policy average utilization. So how it gets this information is from his CloudWatch, basically. Okay, so let's wait for the CloudWatch to report that there is a spike in the load. Yeah, you see this load went high, and even you need to wait for more time. So to come to 100%, then your auto scaling group will detect that, and so then so it automatically starts scaling the instances to balance the load less than um, 50%. So how many instances you need to add? It will just add those particular number of instances. Okay, so yeah, so I think it almost reached to 100% now. Is it showing the correct data? Not really, I think. So let me add to the dashboard of the CloudWatch and see from there. So create new sample. Yeah, so here it is showing something, and refresh, and average of 5 seconds if we show. Yeah, it almost showing closing to 90%. Now, okay, auto scaling group will detect this particular one. It's only like a termination only it is showing. So you need to wait for that. Okay, so it will be a little slow only. Yeah, you see this, a new instance is getting initialized, and you go to the auto scaling group now. So by the time you just came out, it started seams. So go to the front end and you go to the auto scaling and our activity basically. So you see this. So what it is telling is, okay, so a monitor alarm actually, okay, target tracking front end, this one alarm high has been created. So that's the reason actually it is trying to change the capacity from 1 to 2. Okay, so that's what it is doing. And if I stop the load, okay, so and then it automatically identifies that, okay, so there is no load now, then it automatically scales down the instance as well. Now, so I'm actually demonstrating with the help of CPU load, but actually technically talking, so rather than CPU, if we do it based on the load balancer, so then that is really great. Okay, so then I'll just go here, add policy generally to show you. Rather than this application load balancer request per count, and for the target group of this one, if the target value is 50, if it is crossing number of requests is 50, okay, so then you scale up the instances. So based on the load, you are increasing instances. So the instance load can spike up on different scenarios. You cannot actually simply scaling up will not help you. Okay, so but actually the number of requests coming into our load balancer should be considered as the metric, and based on that you scale it out is the best choice. Okay, so that's where so this is the preferred one which we'll be using. Okay, later in the scenario we'll go with something called as some load testing. So that point of time, so we'll just try to put this particular metric, that so the scaling policy that particular point of time, and we will start looking into the auto scaling as really happening or not happening. Okay, so that's the idea basically. Okay, I think so mostly that's all from the auto scaling group concept wise. Okay, yeah, any questions on this so far? So any questions? So you see this, the number of instances in the auto scaling group went to 4 because the load average was not coming to 50%. Okay, unless until you add those instances. So that's not a great idea basically. CPU load can spike with so many reasons. Okay, so that's not the great idea of adding the instances. So we need to think through about so taking the load basically based on the load only. You do that is better way. Okay, that's another point. Now using all these particular options, we have some bits and pieces ready. Okay, so now using these particular bits and pieces, and now what I need to do is I need to come up with a architecture of our application. So how I can make the architecture of our application, or how does it look like is so here so now I'm coming to the architecture, and so our architecture is going to look like it's going to be some user like this some users basically. So some users will be there who is accessing our application. Okay, so they are going to hit our application load balancer, right? Application load balancer. So they are going to hit our application load balancer. Okay, so they are going to hit the application load balancer. So once after I hit the application load balancer, so then what we need to do, so we need to balance the load between front end boxes. Okay, so and then what I want to say, like auto scaling. And then so here I'm going to have some EC2 instances inside this auto scaling group, and so it's a fleet of instances, or number of instances. So it can be number capacity is whatever you mentioned. So it is going to be those many instances. Okay, in the auto scaling group it is going to be, and this is actually going to be a front end instances. Okay, so I will say front end instances. Okay, now this public load balancer is going to hit the front end instances. Okay, so this load balancer, how the target group will be added automatically to the load balancer and how it can send, right? So that's the idea. And once after you have this, now every component is going to be auto scaling group now. So now if you take if you take this one, okay, so if you take what we call catalog is one auto scaling group with having number of instances, that's one microservice, and the same thing should be done by okay, our cart. So the cart is also going to be and this one, and actually okay, so cart is also going to be this one, and again this one, cart, and the user. All right, and then shipping. Okay. Shipping, and then payment. Okay, so these are the different components which we have there, right? So, and these are the components, and it actually sends the, okay, in the backend we're going to send to this. All right. All right. So from here, you're going to send that. And here also multiple instances, your Nginx configuration is telling you that, you hit this catalog of one server, right? Of one server, your Nginx configuration, if you remember how the Nginx configuration look like, the Nginx configurations looks like this. Suppose not this, no, 53. Your Nginx configuration, okay, so looks like this. Where is this front end? Localhost.conf file. It looks like this. So you're hitting one server. Now, are there one servers to hit? No. So there are going to be multiple servers. Now, if it is multiple servers, so I need to put a load balancer here. I need to put a load balancer here, load balancer, load balancer, load balancer. Now, do you require those many load balancers? The answer is no. I already talked about your application load balancer is capable of forwarding the traffic from one load balancer only to multiple things. Okay, so that's where you update your configuration stating that you are going to hit the load balancer, and from there it's actually going to work like this. So you hit this, you hit this, this. So from here it is going to reach to the, okay, so different components here. Okay, and in the back end you're going to have something called as databases, right? So the databases is a different components, like so like MongoDB. MongoDB is MongoDB. There is a service called as DocumentDB in Amazon, but we cannot use that, so there are some limitations. I can show you that later. But yeah, so MongoDB is going to be some server. MongoDB is going to be some DocumentDB, something like this. Okay, but this still goes as a server only. Okay, and so the next one is we have RDS, which is for MySQL. So Amazon RDS instance is one thing which we have, and we have Elastic Cache from Amazon. So Elastic Cache, Amazon Elastic Cache. So this is the Amazon Elastic Cache. Okay, and so the final one, so which we have is a RabbitMQ. RabbitMQ also we got the very recently. I mean, just RabbitMQ on RabbitMQ AWS. Just this month only they have last month or this month only they have released last month. Yeah. they released this particular RabbitMQ service on Amazon. Okay, need to try it out. I'm not sure whether it works or don't works also. But yeah, so we have that now. We can test it out. Okay, so whether that is working or not. All right, so here is this. Yeah, so here I'm not sure whether it goes as. Okay, so RabbitMQ. So the RabbitMQ goes as a server or service. We need to test it out. Okay, so these are the different things which we have. So now these needs some connection to there, and this looks like this. And this all goes in, so this all goes in two subnets. Okay, this all goes scatters in between two subnets of the private subnets. Okay, and so this application load balancer, only this one goes in public subnet. Okay, so let me put that one also. This I'm calling it as a public subnets. Okay, and this goes in. Okay, so this goes in private subnets. This is the idea, and all these things should be taken care from Terraform perspective. So then, and again, this infrastructure will be okay. So the infrastructure will be operated by Azure DevOps. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and Azure DevOps is what we're going to put it in. So this infrastructure is completely monitored by Azure. I mean, created and provisioned everything through automation of Azure DevOps with the Terraform. Okay, so Terraform. So you have some Terraform coming into picture. So Terraform, and then again, so you're going to have something called as monitoring tool. So we are going to have Prometheus. Okay, so we are going to do the monitoring. Prometheus Prometheus monitoring. We are going to use this Prometheus logo. There's a movie also, Prometheus, right? Okay, so Prometheus monitoring. And after that, we require some more log aggregation, and that particular log aggregation will be taken care by ELK. So we are going to have ELK system. Here, or I'll put it like ELK, right? So Elasticsearch. So ELK, Elasticsearch, logstash, Grafana. So these components. So we are going to keep it here. So these also we are going to add, and this comes to the whole. Okay, so this comes to the major concepts which we are going to use. And apart from that, we are going to have CI/CD. So CI/CD comes from Azure DevOps only, majorly. And so apart from this, you're going to get some Ansible. So we are going to make the automation with Ansible. So currently we are on shell scripting, so I'll prefer to go with Ansible as fast as possible at least. Okay, so because you need to do a lot of rework basically if you don't do that, or basically dealing with everything with the shell script is going to be a little bit, so more work actually. So that's where the shell script, that's where the Ansible come into picture. If we have Ansible, so then that's good actually. Yeah, so Ansible also will be there apart from this, just to support this infra. All these tools are going to just support this infra, that's it. Okay, and so like Jenkins, yeah, so Jenkins alternative here we have Azure DevOps, we can use that. So Jenkins we can see at the ending also, and then yeah, so mostly that's it. So these are the major components we need to talk about, and then we'll talk about implementing CI/CD concept at the ending. Okay, so when there is a change happens, how that particular change need to be adopted to the environment, what are the different stages which are involved, and yeah, so how do you take it one by one is what we're going to talk about. Okay, so first our goal is set up this infra completely. Okay, set up this complete infra with Terraform, so which we are going to do that. And once we do that, so we will see that we'll in the version 1 we'll do it with we'll do with the Terraform with shell scripting. And in the version 2, so we're going to deal with let me put some tasks that what we're going to perform now. So first thing is actually going to make it is, so now we start with Terraform from tomorrow. So Terraform from tomorrow. So Terraform with, so Terraform with servers installation with shell script. Okay, we'll go with shell script. Okay, so definitely we'll see a problem. Okay, so then we need to talk about, okay, what are the problems we're facing. And the second one, we end up with using Terraform with Ansible. Okay, how do you run with Ansible? So that means in between we talk about Ansible. So or if you talk about in particular, so the point is actually going to be the Ansible we'll talk about, and then Terraform with Ansible is what we're going to see. Okay, the version 2. So the next thing is, okay, so after that, what we're going to achieve there is, so Terraform with multi-environment. So basically, so Terraform for multiple environments. So that means you'll be having dev environment, you'll be having prod environment, like this. You're going to have multiple environments in the organization. So how do you deal with that? Okay, so that's a quite important thing also. So we'll talk about that as well. And after that, Terraform, you talk with multiple groups, and the whole the final step we are going to do is, so you scattered all the environments and you set up all the environments. So then CI/CD end to end is what we're going to do, or CI/CD is what we're going to talk about. CI is what we're going to talk about. And the sixth one is CI/CD. Okay, end to end. End to end is the goal basically. So you reach the goal here. Okay, so to go there, it takes a long time basically. So first we are going to learn Terraform, and with the because yeah, everyone agreed to go with Terraform. I don't want to change the order, so we'll take the Terraform, and using the shell scripting, whatever we had done so far, will that use that particular bits and pieces will make the so our infra ready. And after that, we are going to go with Ansible, because if I want to go with a multiple environment, so Ansible is a quite important thing. So shell scripting is going to be a burden. So just to make it much easier, I'll go with Ansible, and I'll go with then talking about CI. So what is a continuous integration and what are the pieces, and then you talk CI/CD end to end basically. All right, so that's the goal basically, and this is the goal we are going to try to reach now. These are the goals from now on. That's all from my side for today. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, all right. No questions. We'll meet in tomorrow's session and we'll continue from there. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day.